Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the Starting Over podcast training series. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Running Shot. Running Shot is a very powerful power in the game of HeroClix. It is one of the most used and abused powers, right up there with hypersonic speed. So let's get right into it. Running Shot. Give this character a power action. Have its speed values for the action. Move this character up to its speed value, and it may be given a ranged combat action as a free action. Pretty much Running Shot allows us to pretty much move half our movement. If we're carrying someone, it'll be subtract 2 from that movement. If we have any modifications, we would cut our movement in half and then add whatever our modification is. Okay? It will allow us to pretty much, get a ranged combat action for free. And a ranged combat action can be pretty awesome. And let me try to let you know what some ranged combat actions are. All right. First off, that comes to mind is Energy Explosion. Energy Explosion, you can use Running Shot and Energy Explosion. You also can use Running Shot and Pulse Wave. You can use Running Shot and Psychic Blast, but you can't use Running Shot in Quake. That it doesn't work. You can pretty much get adjacent to a figure and just be like, hey, I'm going to Pulse Wave you. You can run up and just get completely next to the figure and Pulse Wave them, because Pulse Wave has that restriction. Okay, so sort of keep that in mind in your looking for ranged combat actions. Okay. You also can't use ranged combat in Running Shot. That's for darn skippy, and a lot of people try to do that unless you have a special power that allows you to do so. So be careful when people try to let that slip by, because that's not legal. Okay. All right. The other thing I want you to really think about Running Shot is this. Running Shot allows us to move from point A to point B and make a ranged attack, and it allows us to get in and out of cover. It allows us to get a different angle than we could before, but it also allows us to maximize positioning. Now, most of the time, I would say, yeah, let's just look at picking targets and focusing down certain targets and killing this and killing that and, crippling this, crippling that. But you're going to do that anyway. There's no growth there. What I want you to do in your training exercises is say, hey, I'm going to use Running Shot and Energy Explosion, or Running Shot and Pulse Wave. I'm going to use Running Shot in Psychic Blast. Okay, and I'm only going to use those powers if it shows up. Okay, so if I have Running Shot and Pulse Wave, I am not going to do Running Shot in a normal attack. That's going to be our training option 1. Our training option 2 that we're going to have is I'm going to use Running Shot. Okay, but I'm going to be focused on my placement. I'm going to say, I'm going to go through a checklist. Did I move, and did that increase my overall coverage of the map? When I moved with my Running Shot, was I able to cover or target multiple targets? When I did Running Shot, was I able to make my team formation better? If not, then why is it worse? Okay, and the last thing I want you to see is, am I overextending with my Running Shot? Are you, in short, are you getting too happy to kill stuff? Are you risking too much to kill a medic when you don't need to? Are you risking too much to kill that figure when it's easy for you to do it in 2 to 3 turns? Okay, and without taking any, negative repercussions. So I want you to do that while you're playing with Running Shot. And it might seem like, oh man, Dark Logos, you're copping out on us. This is like really not good analysis. But bear with me. In doing this, we are developing a depth of the use of power. Because if you have opponents that are just like, well, I running shot and 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 I running shot. Well, okay, they can go through a game and they can win games. But when they face a person of a higher caliber, the other person is going to be like, I running shot so I can hit your target, plus get this future shot, plus be on hindering terrain, plus get this defend bonus from this other figure, plus I'm able in my next turn to set up to use range combat expert with an enhancement. Do you see the different level of depth there? So, anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you wish to opine. Thank you very much for bearing with me through the speed section of the powers and abilities card. Our next section is going to be on the attack powers on the power and abilities card. So I want you to just go over to that brief introduction, and then we are going to take it from there. I really do appreciate you for just hanging with me through all these powers, and this is probably the length of a normal episode or more for most people. So just, take it all in, and like I said, special powers, people, well, I'm going to dedicate something at the end completely to special powers. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button.